The great hall of Nexus Prime buzzed with voices from 100 different worlds. Ambassador Hyun-woo sat in the back row, watching the celebration unfold before him. The other aliens paid him no attention. To them, he was just another human. Nothing special. Nothing important. The Corvan delegates stood tall and proud near the center of the room. Their thick, scaled skin gleamed under the bright lights. Sharp teeth showed when they spoke. These were the warriors who had fought for 3 long years. They had burned entire star systems in their anger. On the other side of the hall, the Theta representatives floated in their energy fields. They looked like living light, always shifting and changing color. Blue meant calm, red meant anger. Right now they glowed soft green. Happy green. Peace green. Today marks the end of the bloodiest war our galaxy has ever seen, announced Chancellor Vexstar, a tall alien with 4 arms and silver skin. His voice echoed through the hall. 3 cycles of death and destruction are finally over. Hyun-woo made notes on his small tablet. Earth wanted to know everything about this peace treaty. Even though humans had played no part in the war, they still needed to understand what was happening in their corner of space. The war had been terrible. Hyun-woo had read the reports. Entire worlds turned to glass by Corvan fire ships. Theta quantum bombs that made stars go dark. Billions dead on both sides. The smell of burning worlds had reached even Earth's distant sensors. The Corvan Empire and the Theta Collective agreed to end all hostile actions, Vexstar continued. Both sides will withdraw their fleets. Both sides will share technology for healing and rebuilding. A Corvan general named Krikshan stepped forward. His battle scars told stories of 100 fights. We fought with honor, he growled in his rough voice. Now we make peace with honor. The war is over. A Theta being pulsed bright blue as it spoke. The translator made its voice sound like music. We forgive the pain. We forget the anger. Our children will know only peace. The crowd cheered. Aliens from dozens of species clapped, roared, chirped, and sang their joy. Wine flowed. Food was shared. Everyone believed the nightmare was finally over. Hyun-woo felt out of place in his simple black suit. The other species wore bright colors. Shining armor or nothing at all. Some had wings. Others had tentacles. A few looked like walking crystals. Humans looked so plain next to them. You are from Earth, yes? Asked a voice beside him. Hyun-woo turned to see a Relian trader. The small, furry alien had big eyes and tiny hands. Yes, I represent the Terran observation post. Such a young species, the Relian said with a smile. How long have you had space travel? 200 years? 300? About that, Hyun-woo sighed. He didn't mention that humans had only reached other star systems in the last 50 years. Most aliens already thought humans were too primitive to matter. It must be exciting to watch real galactic powers make peace, the Relian continued. Perhaps someday humans will be important enough to have a real voice in these matters. Hyun-woo nodded politely. He had heard this kind of talk before. To most aliens, humans were useful for mining asteroids and growing food. Nothing more. The Galactic Council let Earth have an observer seat just to be polite. Meanwhile, far from Nexus Prime, Commander Ji-hoon sat alone in the observation deck of Station Eco 7. The small human outpost floated in empty space between 2 star systems. Its job was simple: watch and report. No one expected humans to do anything important. Ji-hoon was reading the peace treaty when his communication officer knocked on the door. Sir, we're getting strange readings from the long-range sensors. What kind of readings? Ji-hoon asked. We're not sure. Something big is moving in dark space. The computers can't identify it. Ji-hoon frowned. Dark space was the empty area between galaxies. Nothing lived there. Nothing moved there. Show me. They walked to the sensor room where 3 technicians stared at their screens. The head technician, a woman named Minju, pointed at a cluster of dots. These signals started appearing an hour ago. They're massive, sir. Bigger than anything in our databases. Could it be debris from the war? Ji-hoon asked. No, sir. The signals are moving in formation, like a fleet. Ji-hoon felt a cold feeling in his stomach. A fleet of what? Unknown, sir. The energy signatures don't match any known species, not Corvin, not Theta, not anything we've seen before. On the main screen, the dots moved slowly but steadily toward inhabited space. There were hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Whatever they were huge and they were coming. Send a message to Earth Command, Ji-hoon ordered. Tell them we have unknown contacts approaching from dark space. Large numbers, possibly hostile. Should we warn the Galactic Council? Asked Min-Ju. Ji-hoon thought about this. A council barely listened to human reports about trade routes and asteroid mining. Would they believe a warning about mysterious ships? Send them a copy of our data, mark it as urgent? Back on Nexus Prime, the celebration continued late into the night. Species that had been enemies for generations now shared drinks and stories. The Corvan war songs mixed with Theta light dances. Even the usually serious Vorthan diplomats seemed relaxed. Hyun-woo received the message from Station Eco 7 on his personal communicator. He read it twice, then looked around the happy crowd. Should he interrupt the celebration with unconfirmed reports of unknown ships? He decided to wait. The data needed to be checked. Earth Command would want more information before making any official statements. Besides, the Council was in such a good mood. They might think humans were trying to cause trouble. The next morning, Han-woo tried to schedule a meeting with Chancellor Vexstar. The Chancellor's assistant, a floating jellyfish-like being, looked bored. The Chancellor is very busy, it said in a high voice. The peace treaty requires much work. Perhaps next month? This is urgent, Hyun-woo insisted. We've detected unknown ships approaching inhabited space. The assistant's tentacles waved dismissively. Human sensors are known to be ... limited. Perhaps you detected a merchant convoy or space whales. Yes, probably space whales. These readings suggest a fleet, a large fleet. I will put your request on the Chancellor's calendar. He may have time to see you in 3 weeks. Hyun-woo left feeling frustrated. He tried to contact other council members but got similar responses. Everyone was too busy celebrating peace to worry about human warnings. Meanwhile, the unknown fleet continued its approach. Station Eco 7 tracked their movement hour by hour. The ships were massive. Some were bigger than Earth's moon. They moved in perfect formation, never changing course, never slowing down. Where do you think they're going? Asked Min-Ju. Commander Ji-hoon studied the projected path on the main screen. The red line stretched across space, pointing directly at the nearest inhabited star system. I think they're going exactly where we don't want them to go. The first system in their path was Kepler 442b, a mining world with over 1 million Corvan colonists. If these unknown ships were hostile, those colonists would be the first to know. How long until they reach Kepler 442b? Ji-hoon asked. The computer calculated quickly. At current speed, 72 hours. 3 days. 3 days to convince the galaxy that peace might be ending before it really began. 3 days to make someone listen to the humans that everyone ignored. Ji-hoon opened a direct channel to Earth Command. This is Station Eco 7. I need to speak to Admiral Chun immediately. We have a situation. On Nexus Prime, the celebration was winding down. Aliens were returning to their ships, heading home to spread news of the peace. The Great Hall was almost empty now. Hyun-woo sat alone, still hoping someone would listen to his warning. His communicator buzzed with another urgent message from Station Eco 7. The unknown fleet was getting closer. He looked around the empty hall and made a decision. He would try one more time to warn the council. If they wouldn't listen, at least he could say he tried. The war was over, everyone said. So, everyone believed it, but Hyun-woo had a terrible feeling that everyone was wrong. Captain Suna floated in zero gravity, checking the readings on her tablet for the 3rd time. The numbers hadn't changed, but she hoped they would. Her small ship, Aurora's Edge, drifted quietly in the deep space between star systems. This was supposed to be a routine patrol. Nothing exciting ever happened out here. Her engineer, Taemin, pushed himself along the wall using handholds. Captain, the quantum sensors are picking up something strange. Strange how? Suna asked, though she already suspected the answer. The same readings Commander Ji-hoon reported from Station Eco 7, but much stronger now. Suna sighed. She had hoped Ji-hoon was wrong. Show me everything. They moved to the ship's small bridge where Communications Officer Yoonji was already working at her station. The main screen showed a map of local space with hundreds of red dots moving in formation. They're definitely ships, Eunji said. But the energy signatures are unlike anything in our databases. They don't match Corvin technology. Not data. Either, not even close. Taemin pulled up the technical readings. Look at the size estimates. The largest ones are over 50 kilometers long. That's bigger than most space stations. Suna studied the data. During her 15 years in space, she had seen Corvin battleships and Theta energy platforms. She had watched merchant fleets and pirate raids. Nothing had ever looked like this. Where did they come from? She asked. That's the weird part, Yoonji said. They seem to have appeared from dark space. The area between galaxies where nothing should exist. How is that possible? We don't know. But they've been hiding there, waiting. Suna felt her hands get cold. Waiting for what? Maybe for the war to end, Taemin said quietly. The three humans looked at each other in silence. If these mysterious ships had been waiting for the galaxy's military forces to destroy each other, that suggested very bad intentions. Have we tried to communicate with them? Suna asked. We've sent standard greeting messages in 12 languages, Eunji replied. No response, they just keep moving toward inhabited space. Suna made a decision, set course to intercept, but keep our distance. I want to get a closer look at these things. Captain, Taemin said carefully, if they're hostile, then someone needs to warn the galaxy, and it looks like we're the only ones in position to do it. 2 hours later, Aurora's Edge approached the outer edge of the mysterious fleet. Through the ship's telescopes, they could see the alien vessels clearly. For the first time. My God, whispered Yoonji, the ships looked like they were made of dark crystal. Their surfaces were smooth and black, reflecting no light. Strange symbols glowed along their hulls with cold blue fire. They moved without any visible engines, sliding through space like sharks through water. I count over 800 vessels, Taemin reported, all different sizes. The largest ones could carry millions of beings. Or millions of weapons, Suna added Dot as they watched. Smaller ships detached from the larger ones and spread out in scouting formations. Their movement was perfect. No wasted motion, no hesitation. Like a machine. Captain, Yoonji called out urgently. One of the scout ships is changing course. It's coming toward us. Red alert. All hands to battle stations, Suna ordered. Then realized how silly that sounded. Aurora's Edge was an exploration vessel with light weapons and a crew of 12. If these aliens wanted to destroy them, there was nothing they could do to stop it. The alien scout ship approached rapidly. It was smaller than the others, but still 3 times the size of Aurora's Edge. As it got closer, the human ship's instruments began to malfunction. We're losing power, Taemin called out. Something is interfering with our systems. The main lights went out. Emergency lighting cast red shadows across the bridge. The alien ship stopped just a few hundred meters away. It's scanning us, Yoonji said, her voice tight with fear. With what? Unknown energy type. It's going through our hull like we're made of paper. Suna gripped her chair as the ship shuddered. Whatever the aliens were doing, it felt invasive. Wrong, like someone walking through her mind without permission, then suddenly it stopped. The alien ship moved away as quickly as it had arrived. Power returned to Aurora's Edge. Status report, Suna ordered. All systems coming back online, Taemin said. But they copied everything. Our computer files, our navigation data, our communication logs, everything. They know about Earth now, Yoonji said quietly. Suna felt sick. In trying to protect the galaxy, she might have doomed her own world. Send a priority message to Earth Command. Tell them we've made contact with unknown hostiles. They have our location data. Captain, Temin said, pointing at the main screen. Look. The alien fleet was changing formation. The ships were spreading out, no longer moving as one group. Some headed toward Corvin space. Others turned toward Theta territory. A smaller group aimed directly for Earth's sector. They're dividing their forces, Suna realized. They're going to hit multiple targets at once. Should we follow one of the groups? Asked En-G.Sun-A thought quickly. The main fleet was heading for Kepler 442b, just as Commander Ji-hoon had predicted. If she could get there first, maybe she could warn the colonists. Set course for Kepler 442b maximum speed. Captain, we'll burn out our engines. Better than watching 1,000,000 people die without warning. Aurora's Edge raced through space, pushing its engines beyond safe limits. Behind them, the alien fleet followed at a steady pace. They weren't in a hurry. They knew their victims couldn't escape. Meanwhile, on the mining world of Kepler 442b, Foreman Kwansu was having a normal day. The Corvan workers were pulling rare metals from the asteroid belt. The human technical staff was maintaining the equipment. Everyone was happy about the peace treaty. The war being over means more trade, Kwansu told his assistant, a young Corvan named Thek Mol. More trade means more work. More work means better pay for everyone. Thek Mol nodded, his scaled head bobbing. My clutch brothers who fought? And the war can finally come home. We will have a feast to celebrate. The mining operation was running smoothly. Giant machines carved chunks of ore from floating rocks. Cargo ships waited to carry the valuable metals to distant worlds. Life was good. Then the communication array picked up an urgent message. This is Captain Suna of the Earth vessel Aurora's Edge, Kepler 442b. You are in immediate danger. Unknown hostile fleet approaching your position. Evacuate immediately. This is not a drill. Kwansu stared at the message. Is this some kind of joke? His communication officer, a nervous human named Dongsu, shook his head. The message is authenticated, sir. It's really from a human ship, but the war is over. The peace treaty was signed yesterday. Maybe it's pirates, suggested Thek-Mol.Quan-Su considered this. Pirate raids were common in the outer systems, but pirates usually demanded ransom, not evacuation. Send a reply. Ask for more details. Minutes later, Aurora's Edge sent detailed sensor readings of the approaching fleet. The data made Kwansu's blood run cold. 800 ships, he whispered. Sir, should we contact the authorities? Asked Dongsu. Contact everyone, Kwansu ordered. Send distress signals to the Corvin Defense Force, the Galactic Council, anyone who will listen. And start the evacuation procedures. Sir, we have over 1,000,000 beings on this station and the surrounding platforms. It will take days to evacuate everyone. Kwansu looked at the approaching fleet markers on his screen. According to this data, we have 6 hours. Across Corvin space, defense commanders received the distress signal with confusion and disbelief. General Krikshan, the same warrior who had signed the peace treaty, was drinking victory wine when the message arrived. Unknown. Hostile fleet? He growled. Impossible. Our intelligence shows no major military forces in that sector. His aide, a younger Corvin named Morthak, looked worried. Sir, what if it's the Theta? What if they're breaking the peace treaty? The Theta don't use ships like this. They travel in energy fields. Then who? Krikshan studied the data. The approaching ships were massive and numerous. If they were hostile, Kepler 442b didn't stand a chance. Send the nearest patrol squadron to investigate. But keep our main fleet ready. Ready for what, sir? Ready for the possibility that the war isn't over after all. In Theta space, similar conversations were taking place. The energy beings were puzzled by reports of crystal ships. Such technology was unknown to them. Elder Zeth Prime pulsed anxious yellow as it communicated with its subordinates. These ships use neither energy weapons nor quantum drives. What manner of beings could build such vessels? Perhaps they come from outside our galaxy, suggested a younger Theta. Impossible. Nothing can cross the void between galaxies. But as the reports continued to arrive, the Theta began to worry. If these mysterious ships were real, they represented a threat unlike anything the galaxy had faced before. Back on Aurora's edge, Captain Suna watched Kepler 442b grow larger on the main screen. The mining station was a sprawling complex of metal platforms connected by transport tubes. Thousands of ships buzzed around it like busy insects. "They're starting the evacuation," reported Unji, "but it's going slowly." "How much time do we have?" Suna asked. Tay-Min checked his instruments. "The alien fleet will arrive in 4 hours and 37 minutes. Suna did the math. Even working at maximum speed, the evacuation would take twice that long. Half the people on the station will. The evacuation ships fled from Kepler 442b like frightened birds. Captain Suna watched from Aurora's edge as civilian transports, mining haulers, and personal crafts scattered in all directions, but there were still too many people left behind. "How many got out?" she asked her communications officer. "About 400,000, Yunji replied, her voice heavy. 600,000 are still on the station." Suna felt helpless. Her small ship could barely carry 50 people. The remaining evacuation ships couldn't hold everyone who was left. "Time until the alien fleet arrives?" 23 minutes, reported Taman from his engineering station. On the mining station, Foreman Kwansu stood in the main control room watching the chaos outside. Corvin workers rushed through the corridors carrying whatever they could. Human technicians helped families find transport. Everyone knew that not everyone would make it out. "Sir," called his assistant Thekmol, "the last transport is ready to leave. There's room for 30 more people." Kwansu looked around the control room. His staff of 12 was still working, keeping the station's systems running so the evacuation could continue. "Take the families with children first. What about you, sir?" "Someone has to stay and monitor the situation. Send reports to whoever. We'll listen." Thekmol gripped Kwansu's shoulder with his clawed hand. "It has been an honor working with you, human friend." "The honor was mine." As the last evacuation ship departed, an eerie quiet fell over the station. The corridors that had been full of voices were now empty. Only the hum of life support systems could be heard. Then the alien fleet arrived. "Captain." Suna watched through her telescope as the dark crystal ships emerged from hyperspace. They appeared suddenly like nightmares becoming real. The largest vessel was enormous, bigger than any space station she had ever seen. "They're not slowing down," Taman observed. The alien ships moved toward the mining station in perfect formation. No warning signals, no demands for surrender. "No communication at all. What are they doing?" whispered EON-G. The answer came quickly. The largest alien ship extended what looked like metal tentacles toward the mining station. As the tentacles touched the station's hull, a strange glow spread across the metal surface. "The station is being absorbed," Suna said in disbelief. Through the telescope, they watched the mining platforms dissolve into streams of light that flowed into the alien ship. The metal, the equipment, the remaining people, everything was being consumed and converted into raw energy. "They're not just destroying it," Taman said with horror. "They're eating it." The process took less than an hour. When it was finished, nothing remained where Kepler 442b had been. No debris, no wreckage. Nothing but empty space. And the alien fleet, which now glowed slightly brighter than before. "Send a full report to Earth Command," Suna ordered. "Include everything we've seen. Should we follow the fleet?" Astian-G. shook her head. "We need to warn other systems. Plot a course for the nearest inhabited world." But as Aurora's edge turned away, the alien fleet was already moving to its next target. The pattern was becoming clear. They would consume one system, then move to the next. Like a plague spreading across the galaxy on Earth, Admiral Byung-ho received the reports from Aurora's edge with growing alarm. The images of Kepler 442b being consumed were unlike anything in human records. He called an emergency meeting with his senior staff. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said to the assembled officers, "we are facing something unprecedented. An unknown enemy has destroyed an entire star system." Colonel Sujin, his chief of staff, studied the data. "Sir, if these aliens can consume matter at this rate, how do we fight them?" "That's what we need to figure out, Dr. So-young. What's your analysis?" The xenobiologist stood up, her face pale. "Based on the energy readings, these beings aren't just destroying matter. They're converting it into usable energy and storing it somehow. It's like they're feeding on what? Everything. Metal, rock, biological matter. They seem to absorb the quantum signatures of living beings as well as their physical forms." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. This wasn't conquest or territory. This was consumption. "How long until they reach Earth?" asked Admiral Byung-ho. A young lieutenant ran calculations on his tablet. "At their current rate of expansion, approximately 6 months. Then we have 6 months to find a way to stop them." Meanwhile, on Nexus Prime, Ambassador Hyun-woo was still trying to get someone to listen. He had requested emergency meetings with 3 different council members. All had been denied. Finally, he was granted a brief audience with Sub-Chancellor Rexstar, a minor official with limited authority. "Ambassador Hyun-woo," Rexstar said with obvious impatience, "I understand you have concerns about some merchant ships." "Not merchant ships," Hyun-woo replied. "A hostile fleet that has already destroyed 1 star system." "Yes, Kepler 442b. We received reports of some kind of industrial accident." "Very tragic." Hyun-woo stared at the alien official. "Industrial accident? The entire system was consumed by unknown vessels? Human sensors are known to malfunction in certain energy fields. What you interpreted as ships were probably quantum echoes from the recent war. I have visual confirmation from 3 human vessels." "Ah yes, human visual confirmation." Rexstar's tone was dismissive. "Your species sees patterns that don't exist. It's a primitive survival trait." Hyun-woo felt his temper rising, but forced himself to stay calm. "Will you at least review the data? I will have a junior analyst look at it when time permits. Now if there's nothing else... The meeting was over. Hyun-woo left feeling frustrated and worried. If the Galactic Council wouldn't listen to human warnings, who would? The answer came from an unexpected source General Crickshawn was reviewing patrol reports when his aide burst into his command center. "Sir, we've lost contact with the Kepler 442b system." "Lost contact how?" "Complete communication blackout. All signals stopped transmitting 3 hours ago." Crickshawn growled low in his throat. "Send a scout ship to investigate." "Sir, Scout Leader." "Venkar is already en route. She should reach the system within the hour." When Venkar's report came in, it shook the Corvan military to its core. The scout leader's voice was tight with fear as she transmitted from the edge of the Kepler 442b system. "General, there's nothing here. The mining station, the asteroid belt, even the planetary rings, everything is gone. All I see is empty space." And ... wait. The transmission filled with static, then cleared. "Sir, there are ships here, large ships. Crystal-like construction. They're moving toward Corvan space." "How many ships?" "I count over 300 in this group alone." "They're heading directly for the Tau Ceti colony?" General Crickshawn felt his blood run cold. Tau Ceti was home to 4 billion Corvan civilians. If these mysterious ships could destroy an entire mining operation, what could they do to a populated world? "All available ships to Tau Ceti immediately," he ordered. "And contact the humans who sent those warnings. It seems they were right." Similar scenes were playing out across theta space. Elder Zeth Prime received reports of energy anomalies in the outer systems. Theta exploration teams had found empty spaces where colonies used to be. "The pattern suggests systematic elimination," reported a younger Theta being. "They consume one system, gain energy, then move to the next, but what are they? Unknown. But they appear to target populated areas specifically." As the reports multiplied, even the Galactic Council could no longer ignore what was happening. Chancellor Vexstar called an emergency session, but the response was chaos. "This is impossible," declared the Vorthan representative. Our surveys show no unknown species in this galaxy. Maybe they're not from this galaxy, suggested the Relian delegate. Don't be ridiculous. Nothing can cross intergalactic space. Ambassador Hyan Wu sat in the back listening to the arguments. Finally he stood up. Chancellor, may I speak? The room fell silent. Most of the delegates had never heard a human address the full council. You may, Vexstar said reluctantly. We've been trying to warn you for days. Our ships have observed these creatures. We've seen what they can do. They're not from this galaxy, and they're not interested in negotiation. They consume everything in their path. And what do humans propose we do about it? Asked the Corvan delegate. Fight, Hynwu said simply. Work together, pool our resources and knowledge. With what? Laughed the Theta representative. Our fleets were destroyed in the war. We have no military capability left. Then we rebuild, quickly. And put humans in charge, I suppose? The question came from a species Hyan Wu didn't recognize. Put whoever is most qualified in charge. This isn't about politics anymore. It's about survival. Before anyone could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the council chambers. Emergency broadcasts flooded the communication channels. Tau Ceti under attack. Massive energy drain detected. The entire system is going dark. On the main screen, they watched real-time footage from the Tau Ceti system. The dark crystal ships had arrived at the heavily populated world. Corvan defense ships tried to intercept them but were overwhelmed in minutes. Then the consumption began. 4 billion lives snuffed out in hours. An entire world reduced to energy and absorbed into the alien fleet. The council chamber was completely silent now. The celebration of peace felt like a distant memory. Chancellor Vexstar's voice was. Colonel Dong Hyan stood before the holographic map in Earth's military command center. Red markers showed where the alien fleet had struck. Each red dot represented billions of lives lost. The pattern was clear and terrifying. They're not random attacks, he explained to the assembled Earth Defense Force commanders. Look at the progression. They hit resource-rich systems first, then population centers, always moving toward areas with higher energy density. Admiral Byung-ho studied the projection. How long until they reach our core systems? At current consumption rates, 3 months, maybe less if they continue to grow stronger. The room fell silent. 3 months to find a way to stop an enemy that consumed entire star systems. What about the Galactic Council? Asked General Na Young. Are they organizing any defense? The council is paralyzed, reported Ambassador Hyan Wu via secure transmission from Nexus Prime. Half the species want to negotiate, the other half want to run. No one wants to fight. Then we fight alone, Admiral Byung-ho said. Sir, Colonel. Sujin pointed out, our entire fleet has maybe 200 ships. These aliens have thousands. Numbers aren't everything. We need to be smarter, not bigger. Colonel Don Hyan activated a new section of the hologram. I've been studying their attack patterns. There might be a weakness. The display showed the aliens' consumption process in detail. They extend energy tentacles to break down matter at the quantum level. But during the process, there's a brief vulnerability window, 4.7 seconds, where their shields fluctuate. That's not much time, observed Dr. So-young. It's enough if we hit them right. Admiral Byung-ho leaned forward. What do you have in mind? A suicide mission, Dong Hyan said bluntly. One ship, loaded with every nuclear warhead we can spare, gets close during the vulnerability window. The radiation would kill the crew instantly. I know, the room went quiet again. Everyone understood what Dong Hyan was proposing. Someone would have to die to test whether these aliens could be hurt. I'll do it, said a voice from the back of the room. Everyone turned to see Captain Minho, a veteran of the Mars colony wars. He was older than most ship commanders, with gray hair and deep lines around his eyes. Captain, you don't have to volunteer. Admiral Byung-ho said, double quotes, yes, I do. My kids are grown. My wife died 2 years ago, but those colonists on Proxima have families. If there's a chance to save them, I'll take it. Dr. Inseok, Earth's top quantum physicist, stepped forward. Captain, I've been analyzing the alien energy signatures. There might be another way. She activated her tablet, projecting new data. These creatures feed on quantum energy patterns. But human brain patterns are unusual. Unusual how? Asked Admiral Byung-ho. We evolved as hunters and survivors. Our neural networks create quantum interference patterns when we're under extreme stress. It might be like static to them. You mean humans are naturally resistant to their feeding process? Possibly, but we'd need to test it. Captain Minho grinned grimly. Looks like my suicide mission just became a survival mission. Meanwhile, on the outer edge of human space, Captain Suna was learning the same thing the hard way. Aurora's Edge had reached the Proxima colony just as the aliens arrived. The small human settlement was completely outmatched. All civilian. Ships are evacuating, reported Yunji, but the alien fleet is surrounding the colony. Suna watched as the dark crystal ships moved into position. How many people are still on the surface? About 12,000. The last transport ship won't launch for another hour. The alien consumption process began. Energy tentacles reached down toward the colony's main habitat domes, but something strange happened. Captain, Taemin called out urgently, the energy drain is fluctuating. Something is interfering with their feeding. On the main screen, they could see the alien ships struggling. The consumption process that had been smooth and efficient at other systems was jerky and unstable here. It's the humans, Suna realized. Something about human settlements is different. A communication came from the colony's control center. This is Director Jae-sung. We're detecting massive energy feedback in the alien ships. They seem to be having trouble processing our quantum signatures. Can you evacuate faster? Suna asked. We're trying, but the alien interference is affecting our systems too. Suna made a decision. Taemin, take us into the alien formation, right into the middle of them. Captain, that's suicide. Maybe, but if human presence disrupts their feeding, we might be able to buy time for the evacuation. Aurora's Edge dove toward the alien fleet. As they got closer, the aliens' energy readings became more chaotic. Their perfect formations began to waver. They don't like us, Yunji observed. Good, let's give them more to dislike. Suna activated the ship's emergency beacon, broadcasting on all frequencies. The signal would be detected across half the galaxy, telling everyone exactly where they were. Captain, you're making us a target, Taemin warned. I'm making us bait? 3 alien ships broke formation to intercept Aurora's Edge, but as they got closer, their energy fields began to destabilize. Whatever made humans quantum resistant was affecting the aliens' ability to function. We're like a virus to them. Suna said with satisfaction. The distraction worked. While the aliens struggled with human interference, the last evacuation ships escaped from Proxima. 12,000 lives saved, but Suna's satisfaction was short-lived. The aliens adapted quickly. They pulled back from direct contact with humans and began attacking the colony from longer range. The consumption resumed, slower but still deadly. Time. To go, Suna ordered. Aurora's Edge fled as Proxima was consumed, but they had learned something valuable. Humans could disrupt the aliens' feeding process. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Back on Earth, the reports from Proxima changed everything. Quantum interference, Dr. Inseok explained to the military leadership. Human consciousness creates patterns that interfere with their feeding mechanism. So humans are immune? Asked Admiral Byung-ho. Not immune, resistant, we're like indigestible food to them. Colonel Dong Hyan saw the tactical implications immediately. We can't beat them in ship-to-ship combat. But we can disrupt their operations if we get close enough. How close? Boarding range. The idea was insane. Board alien ships that consumed matter at the quantum level. Fight creatures that ate entire star systems. But it was the only advantage humans had. We'll need volunteers, Admiral Byung-ho said. The entire Marine Corps volunteered already, reported Colonel Sujin. When news of the alien attacks reached them, of course they did. Plans began forming quickly. Small, fast ships would approach alien vessels during their vulnerability windows. Human boarding parties would attack the aliens directly, using their natural quantum resistance to disrupt alien systems. Captain Minho was put in command of the first strike force. His ship, rechristened Prometheus Dawn, was loaded with nuclear warheads and a crew of volunteers. Lieutenant Haijin, a young Marine officer, was selected to lead the boarding party. "Ma'am," Admiral Byung-ho told her, "you understand this is a one-way mission." "Understood, sir. But if we can prove these things can be hurt, other species might join the fight." Sergeant Won-sik and Specialist Yuna completed the boarding team. All three had experience in zero-gravity combat and had volunteered knowing they probably wouldn't survive. "Remember," Dr. In-seok briefed them, "your presence alone will disrupt their systems. But you need to get to their control centers to do maximum damage." "How will we know what's a control center?" asked Won-sik. "Look for the brightest energy sources. That's where they'll be processing quantum data." The first test came sooner than expected. Long-range sensors detected an alien fleet heading for the Luna mining stations. If they could consume the moon's resources, they would be dangerously close to Earth. "This is it," Admiral Byung-ho announced. "Operation Prometheus launches in 6 hours." Captain Minho's crew made their final preparations. The ship's hold was packed with enough nuclear material to crack a small planet. The boarding party checked their equipment one last time. "You know," Haijin said to her team, "when I joined the Marines, I thought I'd be fighting humans." "This is better," Won-sik replied. "Humans sometimes surrender." As Prometheus Dawn launched toward the alien fleet, every human military installation tracked its progress. This would either prove that the aliens could be hurt, or it would be the shortest military mission in human history. The alien fleet was smaller this time, only about 50 ships, but they were larger than the ones at previous attacks. The creatures were learning too, concentrating their forces for more efficient consumption. "Target the largest ship," Minho ordered. "If we're going to make a statement, it might as well be a big one." The alien vessel was 2 kilometers long and shaped like a crystal spear. Energy flowed along its surface in hypnotic patterns. It was beautiful in an alien way, like a deadly work of art. "Beginning attack run," Minho announced. Prometheus Dawn accelerated toward the alien ship, its nuclear payload armed and ready. The aliens detected the approach and began defensive maneuvers, but their energy fields flickered as they got closer to the human vessel. "Quantum interference confirmed," reported Haijin. "They're having trouble maintaining shields." "Perfect. Boarding party, prepare for launch." The plan was simple. Minho would ram the alien ship with Prometheus Dawn, CRE. The inside of the alien ship was like walking through the belly of a massive beast. Lieutenant Haijin led her team through corridors that pulsed with organic rhythm. The walls were warm to the touch and seemed to breathe. "This changes everything," she whispered into her radio. "The ships aren't just vessels, they're living creatures." Captain Minho's voice crackled back from Prometheus Dawn. "Understood, find the brain and kill it." Sergeant Won-sik pointed ahead with his rifle. "Energy readings are strongest that way." They moved deeper into the creature, following passages that curved like blood vessels. Strange lights flickered along the walls, and the air hummed with alien power. Every step forward made the lights flicker more wildly. "We're disrupting its nervous system just by being here," observed Specialist Yuna. "Good, let's disrupt it more." They found the first chamber filled with what looked like floating jellyfish made of light. The creatures pulsed in rhythm with the ship's heartbeat. When the humans entered, the rhythm became erratic. "Control nodes," Haijin realized. "Destroy them all." The team opened fire with their energy weapons. Each jellyfish creature that died sent shockwaves through the ship. The corridors shuddered and the lights dimmed. "The whole ship is convulsing," Won-sik reported. They pushed deeper, finding more chambers filled with alien control systems. Each one they destroyed made the ship weaker. But they also found something else: imprisoned minds in crystalline pods. Lining the walls, they saw the quantum signatures of consumed beings: Corvins, Theta, even some species they didn't recognize. The aliens weren't just eating matter. They were collecting consciousness. They're keeping souls as slaves, Yuna said with horror. Can we free them? Asked Wan-Sik-Jin studied the pods. Maybe, but first we need to stop this thing from consuming more. They reached the central chamber, a vast space filled with pulsing energy. At the center floated a massive brain-like structure connected to thousands of neural pathways. This was the creature's control center? That's the target, Hyjin said, but as they approached, the chamber filled with defenders. Not more jellyfish creatures, but humanoid figures made of crystal and shadow. The absorbed consciousness of previous victims turned into guardians. They're using the dead to fight us, one Sikh said grimly. Then we'll have to fight the dead. The battle in the central chamber was like nothing in human military training. Their enemies moved like ghosts, phasing in and out of solid matter. Traditional weapons had limited effect, but the humans had one advantage. Their natural quantum resistance meant the ghost warriors couldn't possess them or drain their life force. It became a grinding fight of attrition. Hyjin to Captain Minho, she called between shots. We're engaged in the control center. How long until detonation? 2 minutes, came the reply. Whatever you're going to do it fast. Yuna had been studying the central brain while her teammates fought. Lieutenant, I think I can disrupt the neural pathways, but I'll have to interface directly with the alien systems. That could kill you, or probably. But it might free all those trapped minds. Hyjin made the decision every combat leader dreads. Do it. Yuna placed her hands on the pulsing brain structure. Immediately, energy coursed through her body. She screamed as alien thoughts flooded her mind, but she held on. The effect was immediate. The ghost warriors stopped attacking and began to fade. The trapped consciousness in the crystal pods started to glow brighter. The ship's heartbeat became irregular and weak. It's working, Wonsake shouted, but Yuna was paying the price. The alien energy was burning through her nervous system. Blood ran from her eyes and nose. Get out of here, she gasped. I can't hold this much longer. We're not leaving you, Hyjin said. That's an order from a dying soldier to her friends. Go. One Sikh grabbed Hyjin's arm. She's right. We need to report what we learned. They ran through the convulsing corridors as the ship died around them. Behind them, Yuna's final sacrifice had freed thousands of trapped souls. The crystal pods shattered, releasing streams of light that flowed out of the ship. Jin and one Sikh reached their escape pods just as Captain Minho's countdown reached 0. Prometheus Dawn's nuclear payload detonated. Inside the dying alien ship, the explosion was visible from Earth. When the light faded, nothing remained of the alien vessel except expanding gas and freed souls returning to wherever consciousness goes when it dies. The other alien ships in the fleet reacted with what could only be described as panic. Their perfect formations scattered. Some fled, others attacked each other in confusion. We hurt them, Admiral Byung-ho said with satisfaction as he watched the tactical display. We actually hurt them. The victory was small but significant. One alien ship destroyed, thousands of trapped minds freed. And proof that the creatures could be killed. Word spread quickly through human space. The aliens weren't invincible. They could be fought. They could be beaten, but the real breakthrough came from Dr. The Jin's analysis of the combat data. The human boarding party didn't just disrupt the ship's systems, she explained to the assembled military leadership. They caused a cascade failure in the creature's quantum consciousness. Meaning what exactly? Asked Admiral Byung-ho. Human minds produce interference patterns that are toxic to their neural networks. We're like a virus to them. Not just resistant to their attacks, but actively harmful to their thought processes. General Jae-sung leaned forward. How do we weaponize that? We don't need to. We already are weapons. Every human in close proximity to these creatures causes them pain and confusion. The implications were staggering. Humans weren't just prey. That was hard to digest. They were a species that could literally think alien predators to death. We need more boarding parties, Colonel Dong Hyen said. Hit them everywhere, all at once. With what ships? Asked Admiral Sujin. We barely have enough vessels for defense, then we build more, fast. Earth's shipyards went into overdrive. Every available resource was dedicated to building small, fast attack ships designed for boarding actions. They weren't pretty, but they were functional. Engineer Chang Min led the development teams, combining human ingenuity with salvaged alien technology from the destroyed ship. We can make these ships almost invisible to alien sensors, he reported. Their quantum detection systems can't lock onto human neural patterns. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, other species began to take notice. The news that humans had actually destroyed an alien ship spread through diplomatic channels. General Krikshan was the first alien commander to contact Earth directly. Human Admiral Byung-ho, his transmission began. The Corvan Empire wishes to discuss military cooperation. I thought your people considered us primitive, Admiral Byung-ho replied. Primitives who can kill godships deserve respect. What do you need? Ships, weapons, resources, and soldiers willing to learn how to fight like humans. The Corvan general's laugh was like grinding stone. Corvans are always willing to learn new ways to kill enemies. Similar messages came from other species. The Theta offered their energy technology. The Relians provided detailed maps of alien movements. Even minor species offered whatever help they could, but the most important ally came from an unexpected source. Captain Suna was conducting reconnaissance near the alien fleet when she detected a transmission on an old emergency frequency. The message was in a language she didn't recognize, but the universal translator worked. To any who can hear this, I am Commander Junho of the exploration vessel Star's Dream. We have been captured by the creatures for 3 cycles. We have information that could help you fight them. Suna nearly fell out of her chair. Yunji. Trace that signal? Someone's alive inside the alien fleet. Signal is coming from the largest ship, Captain? How is that possible? I don't know, but we're going to find out. Star's Dream had been part of a joint exploration mission that had encountered the aliens before they reached inhabited space. Most of the crew had been consumed, but a few had survived by hiding in the ship's shielded areas. The creatures have a weakness, Junho transmitted. They're controlled by a central intelligence located in a massive mothership hidden in dark space. Destroy that, and the entire fleet becomes mindless. Where is this mothership? Suna asked. Between galaxies. It's been coordinating attacks while staying hidden. But I've managed to calculate its position from communication patterns. The data Junho provided was invaluable. A target that could end the threat permanently. But it was also located in the most dangerous place in the universe, surrounded by the largest concentration of alien ships ever assembled. This is a job for the whole galaxy, Suna transmitted to Earth Command. Admiral Byung-ho agreed. Send the coordinates to all allied species. It's time for a joint operation. But even as plans formed for the ultimate assault, the aliens were adapting too. New ships appeared, larger and more aggressive than before. They had learned from their defeat and were changing their tactics. The war that everyone thought was over had become something much bigger. Not just a fight between species, but a battle for the survival of consciousness itself. On Earth, pilot Seljai prepared for her next mission. She would lead a squadron of the new attack ships against an alien fleet threatening the outer colonies. Her ship was small and fast, designed for hit-and-run attacks. Remember, she told her pilots. The final battle began in the dark space between galaxies, where no stars shone and only the faint glow of distant galactic clusters provided any light. Captain Il-sung looked out at the assembled fleet and still couldn't believe what he was seeing. Corvan warships flew alongside human destroyers. Theta energy platforms moved in formation with Relian cargo haulers converted to assault ships. Dozens of species that had barely spoken to each other before the alien threat were now united under human tactical command. All ships, this is Admiral Na Young aboard the flagship Unity, came the transmission. Today we end this threat forever. Il-sung commanded a converted mining ship called Iron Fist. His crew of 20 included humans. Kovans, and even 2 Theta beings who had volunteered for the suicide mission. They all knew the odds. The alien mothership was massive beyond imagination. It dwarfed entire planets, a dark crystal structure that pulsed with the absorbed energy of 1,000 conquered worlds. Around it moved a defensive fleet of smaller ships, each one larger than anything the Allied forces possessed. "Target analysis complete," reported Dr. Haiyan Ru from the command ship. "The mothership's core contains the central intelligence that controls all alien forces, but it's protected by quantum barriers that normal weapons cannot penetrate." "What about abnormal weapons?" asked Admiral Na Young. "Human consciousness appears to be the only thing that can disrupt their quantum fields. But someone will have to carry the virus directly to the core." The plan was desperate and brilliant in its simplicity. Human volunteers would board the mothership during a coordinated assault. One of them would have to reach the central intelligence and interface directly with it, using their human neural patterns to upload a quantum virus designed by Dr. Haiyan Ru. The virus would turn the aliens' own feeding mechanism against them, causing their collective consciousness to consume itself. But the human carrying the virus would have to maintain contact with the alien intelligence long enough for the infection to spread. It would be like pouring poison into their own mind. "I'll do it," volunteered Lieutenant Commander Subin, one of the few survivors from the original boarding actions. "Subin, you don't have to," Admiral Na Young said. "Yes, I do. I've been inside these things before. I know how they think. I'm the best chance we have." The assault began with a feint. Half the Allied fleet attacked the outer defensive ring while the real strike force approached the mothership from the shadow of a dead planet. Captain Ilsung's ship was part of the boarding force. As they got closer to the mothership, his instruments began to malfunction. The alien ship was so massive it had its own gravity field. "Remember," he told his crew, "once we're inside, stay close to the humans. Their neural patterns will protect you from mind control." Private First Class Minsu, the former Seoul street fighter who had become one of humanity's best shipboard warriors, checked his equipment one last time. He would lead the assault team that had to clear a path to the mothership's core. "You know," he said to his squad, "when I was stealing food on the streets as a kid, I never imagined I'd end up stealing the future of the galaxy." "Let's hope you're better at this than you were at pickpocketing," joked his teammate. "I only got caught twice." This is the kind of job where getting caught once is too many. The boarding ships launched toward the mothership like arrows shot at a mountain. Most would be destroyed before they reached the hull. The survivors would have to fight their way through miles of hostile alien tissue to reach the core. Il-sung's ship was one of the first to make contact. The impact threw everyone against the walls, but their cutting tools burned through the alien hull in seconds. "Go! Go! Go!" he shouted as his crew poured through the breach. Inside the mothership was like entering the nervous system of a god. Corridors stretched in all directions, pulsing with bioluminescent veins. The air was thick with the psychic screams of billions of absorbed minds. "The trapped consciousness are fighting back," observed one of the Theta crew members. "They sense. We're here to free them." Minsu's squad fought through waves of alien defenders. These weren't the ghost warriors they had faced before, but new creatures bred specifically to kill humans. They moved fast and hit hard, but they couldn't adapt to human unpredictability. "Left!" Minsu shouted, diving through a gap that shouldn't have existed. His squad followed. Trusting his street-smart instincts over tactical doctrine, they found Subin's team pinned down in a vast chamber filled with processing nodes. The alien intelligence was throwing everything it had at the humans. Sensing the threat they represented, "Subin," Minsu called out. "This way!" He led a flanking attack that caught the aliens by surprise. Humans didn't fight the way the alien intelligence expected. They improvised, adapted, and never followed the logical course of action. "The core is through that passage." Subin pointed to an opening that glowed with sickly light. "But it's heavily defended." "Leave the defenders to us," Minsu said. "You just get that virus planted." The final assault was chaos. Human Marines fought alien guardians in the twisting passages of the mothership's nervous system. Every step forward cost lives, but they kept advancing. Subin reached the core chamber, a vast space filled with a pulsing brain structure the size of a city block. This was the central intelligence that had orchestrated the consumption of entire civilizations. "Hello," she whispered to the alien mind. "I'm here to give you indigestion." She placed her hands on the neural interface and felt the alien consciousness flood into her mind. It was like being struck by lightning made of thought. Every horror the creatures had committed, every scream of their victims, poured through her awareness, but she held on. Human stubbornness was stronger than alien. MALEVOLENCE. The quantum virus began to spread through the alien network. Dr. Haiyan had designed it to exploit the one weakness in their collective consciousness. They couldn't understand human individuality. The virus made each alien ship think it was the only real intelligence in the network. They began to turn on each other, consuming their neighbors in a frenzy of artificial paranoia. "It's working," Subin gasped as the alien mind convulsed around her consciousness. "The network is collapsing, but the process was killing her." Human minds weren't designed to interface with alien superintelligence. Blood ran from her eyes as her nervous system burned out. "Tell them," she whispered into her radio, "tell them we were here." The mothership died around her, its vast intelligence fragmenting into a billion screaming pieces. The neural passages went dark. The pulsing veins stopped flowing. Throughout the galaxy, alien ships suddenly stopped their coordinated attacks. Without the central intelligence to guide them, they became confused and erratic. Many began consuming each other. Others fled into deep space. The threat that had seemed unstoppable was ending not with a massive explosion, but with the quiet sacrifice of one human who refused to let go. Captain Ilsung led the survivors out of the dying mothership. They had lost half their boarding force, but they had saved the galaxy. "Status report," Admiral Na Young requested as the evacuation ships departed. "Mission accomplished," Ilsung replied. "The central intelligence is destroyed. Subin did it." "What?" "About Subin? She's not coming home, Admiral." As the Allied fleet watched, the massive mothership collapsed in on itself. The quantum energy that had held it together dissipated into space, carrying with it the freed consciousness of every being the aliens had consumed. Streams of light flowed outward from the dying ship, returning souls to their proper place in the universe. Entire civilizations that had been erased from existence were restored in quantum form. The war was over. Really over this time. Ambassador Sohyan, Haiyanwu's daughter, stood before the reformed Galactic Council 6 months later. The chamber had been rebuilt on Earth, in recognition of humanity's role in saving the galaxy. "We gather today not to celebrate victory," she said, "but to remember sacrifice. The beings who died fighting the consumers, the worlds that were lost, and the humans who proved that sometimes the smallest voice can change everything." And the memorial wall behind her showed the names of every being who had died in the war. Subin's name was at the top, along with Yuna, Minho, and thousands of others who had given their lives. "The galaxy is safe because ordinary people did extraordinary things," Sohyan continued. "They remind us that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing what needs to be done despite the fear." General Krikshan, now serving as Earth's military liaison, stood up. "The Corvan Empire proposes a new charter for galactic defense. No species shall stand alone against extinction. No call for help shall go unanswered." The measure passed unanimously. In the months that followed, human military academies were established on dozens of worlds. Young aliens came to learn the principles of human warfare, adaptability, improvisation, and never surrendering. Captain Suna, now promoted to admiral, oversaw the new Deep Space Patrol fleet. Human ships worked alongside alien vessels, watching the dark spaces between galaxies for any sign of returning threats. "Do you think they'll come back?" asked her aide, a young Theta named Velshin. "Something like them might," Suna replied. "The universe is big and full of dangerous things. But they'll face a galaxy that knows how to fight back. On the edge of known space, automated probes broadcast a message in every language. T.